this race took a hit today, and that is because Marine Nationale is out. Hello and welcome back to the Let's Talk Racing YouTube channel in association with Racing TV. I'm Joshua Stacey. I'm joined alongside Andrew Blair-White for the first of 4 day-by-day Cheltenham Festival previews. You're watching the Tuesday Champion Hurdle Day. At this point, you're walking through Cheltenham, you're walking up to the racecourse, and just the feeling is undescribable.
Oh, it's absolutely superb. We've been looking forward to this moment all year.
We have.
We started off in, I think, the middle of June doing our first horse to follow video. It has all been brewing to this point. I cannot wait. The Tuesday is like none other. I think it's the best day's racing. It's superb to be there. Great atmosphere. You get the roar. There's a great night out afterwards. There's just everything to do. All we have to do is find a winner.
If you do enjoy this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It takes 2 seconds, it's completely free, and it massively helps us. We want to hit 20,000 subscribers by the time the Cheltenham Festival rolls around. We've got a week to do it. We're up against it, but with your help, it's definitely possible. So please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I also do want to talk to you about a Cheltenham Festival preview night that we're doing on Thursday in Birmingham at Scanlon's club. We're with Melissa Jones and Charlie Post. Really looking forward to doing that. Seems like there's plenty of interest as well. Looking forward to seeing so many of you there. Do pop along, it's £10. You can come on the door. Be a great night talking to people about horse racing and the Cheltenham Festival. But let's get stuck into it. Let's do this. The first race of the Cheltenham Festival that we're going to preview is the Supreme Novices Hurdle. And this largely revolves around the whereabouts of Ballyburn. Where is he going to run?
Well, it's been the long question. It's been the biggest kind of question, I suppose, that's divided opinion throughout the year. I said it on the video that I did a few days ago about the novice hurdlers, that we were having this discussion back in August time. I remember putting up a tweet. I said that he'd go to the Supreme. You said he was an absolute certainty to go to the Ballymore, or the Birmingham as it is now. And we're 8-9 months on, and we're none the wiser.
I was leaning towards, when you put that video out, I obviously watched it and I thought it was an interesting opinion. I had a different opinion. I thought that the fact that JP had Jericho de Repene and Mystical Power, and he was being backed for the Ballymore and Ballyburn was shortening for this, I felt that they would split the 2 JP runners up and that would be the way that they'd go. But it's still very much in the balance, isn't it?
Very much so. Look, I think Ballyburn and Mystical Power, well, Ballyburn is the best novice hurdler, I think, this year. I think no matter, I know it's very easy to say, I think he would win both races if he ran in it.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the year that Sir Gerhard was running. I know actually in the end he dodged Constitution Hill, but at the time going into it, you kind of felt like he had everything at his disposal. He had speed, he had stamina. I think Ballyburn's the same with that. I wouldn't be surprised if he was in either race. I think he'll win both races, or, well, he'll win whatever race he runs in. I just don't know. I'm not sure whether he will run in the Supreme now. The last couple of days have kind of put me off again.
So, if he runs here, you're backing him?
Yes.
If he doesn't, who you back?
I think Mystical Power, because I believe he'll run if Ballyburn doesn't run. Those are the 2 horses I'll be keeping on side in the 2 races.
Why would you take on Tully Hill?
Not a huge fan of him, personally. I thought he got it his own way the last day. I don't think his jumping is good enough.
With Mystical Power, do you have any doubts whether the way he's going to go through the race?
Potentially, yes, but at the same time, we saw when like Shishkin won the Supreme that he was a little bit all over the place, potentially down the hill, is off the bridle, but actually then has a turn of foot, has a real electric turn of foot, and I think this horse does. I think he's actually an underrated horse for what he's done. It was a big effort to go and win a novice hurdle at Galway, which is a tough track to make your hurdling debut. I know he was in the middle of the summer, but it's a tough thing to do, and there was some decent horses he was against. And then he's won a Moscow Flyer by 10 lengths. I know you can crab who was in behind him, but he won by 10 lengths. If the race was another 50 yards, it would have been 15.
I think there's a possibility that if Ballyburn was to go up in trip, that Slade Steel would come down to 2. I don't think that's a million.
No,
I'm not saying that.
What would you think if he did that? Would you back him for a Supreme?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't back him for a Supreme. I'm largely in a very similar camp to you. I think I am Ballyburn if he runs here. I'd be Mystical Power if he doesn't. But the one I would also give a small mention to is Asian Master for Willie as well. I think that he is one at a massive price who could outrun his odds. So we're happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, I agree with you with Slade Steele. If our friend Rob obviously had him in a headlock at the Dublin Race Festival, if he is watching, do you want to reiterate your point?
Ballymore, please. You know I've been pointing at you a million times saying Ballymore. I'm not going to stop now. And I apologise the other day, but that was just me being nice. Ballymore. Right, now it's the Arkle Novices Chase, and this race took a hit today, and that is because Marine Nationale is out of the Arkle through injury. Immediate reaction? Sadness. Right, we're going to put that behind us. We're going to look at the Arkle. Founder 50 is now joint favourite with Let's Tomps. Gaelic Warriors 4-1. Facile Vega's in there. Hunter's Yarn, JPR1, Quilixios. It's not a vintage race by any means, and it looks very, very weak actually compared to previous Arkles in the sense that there's no superstar. But who's the most likely winner?
I've come a full circle on a few horses this year that people are going to be slightly shocked by, that have been snippy in the past. Throughout the 4 days, there's going to be a few that I've called some names. I've come round to the conclusion that Facile Vega is going to win the Arkle now.
Why? I asked that because he's been beaten by LT Tomp and Founder 50 on his last start, and Founder 50 beat him again on the start before. Sharjah beat him that time.
Yeah, I think you can put a line through that. Don't think it was Patrick Mullen's finest time in the saddle, and it was just a funnily run race. It was stop-start, didn't seem to suit him. The last day, I think he was running a big race, made a mistake at the last, which probably then meant he lost a length or two, was still close up. I don't like Ilete Tomp around Cheltenham. I think he's got trouble there. He's shown that in the Spring Juvenile going into the Triumph. He's shown that when he won the Grade 1 Novice Hurdle last year going into the Supreme. I'm not going to be fooled again by any stretch. Founder 50, I do worry about his jumping out to his right. And I think Facile Vega, the one thing I would say is that it's huge benefit having such good course form. He's been to Cheltenham twice, finished second in a Supreme, which was a very good run, well clear of third, and he's won a champion bumper by 5 lengths. There's a lot going for him, I think. And I think now that that news has come out, I can't see why he won't run in the race.
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know where I would be at this point. I think it would be between Hunter's Yarn and Facile Vega, and I think I'll just leave it closer to the time to decide. I agree with you, but I would be really intrigued with Facile Vega up in trip, and I just hope that they don't, if that was the plan, and that is the plan, say, as we speak, I hope they don't look at it and change.
The only thing is, if Facile Vega does go up in trip, it tells you that Gaelic Warrior is not going to run.
I agree. I don't think he's a certainty to run.
No, but I don't think he's a certainty not to run at the same time.
No, possibly. Okay, the next race is the Ultima Handicap Chase, the first handicap of the festival. Is there one that sticks out here?
I think it's a very tough race. Obviously, the Irish have the top 2 in the betting, despite the fact that they haven't won the race since 2006. Like, they're both good horses meeting in the waters on the Goffer. They're both potentially well handicapped. I can see why people want to get involved in them. But at the same time, I've done it so many times. I can't keep doing it to myself. I can't keep shooting myself in the foot.
No.
Chianti Classico, a horse I quite like for Kim Bailey.
He's very interesting, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he has to be. He's well found in the market at this stage, but for a good reason. He's had a good season this year and has been progressive. But I'm actually going to take a bit of a flyer on his stablemate. I might actually back the 2 of them on the day, but I'm quite keen on Trelawn. Kim Bailey came out today and said the Ultima, should I say, is his main target, and he's going to run in the race. I've come to a little bit of a thought process that I suspect David Bass will ride Chianti Classico as stable number 1. But Gavin Sheehan's been riding quite a lot of Kim Bailey's other horses this year, and I'd love to see him on the likes of a Trelawn, because he's a bit of a monkey. He he hung off the track at Wetherby. He sometimes needs to be kept going. Sheehan's the right type of rider for that. I'd like to see him kind of make his mind up. Travels in the van. He's got a bit of class.
I agree. It was a great run behind Ginny Sesame at Cheltenham over 2.5. And you had Grey Dawning in the field that day as well. He clearly likes the track. I think he will benefit from a step on the trip. And I agree. I think that he's interesting. And I probably agree with you completely in the fact that I might back both of the Kim Bailey horses at 9-1 and 16-1.
I think there's certainly worse bets to have. They'll both be in off feasible weights in the race. You've got a trainer that's had plenty of horses that have run well in the race in the past. Both of them seem to have been earmarked at this. Both are novices coming in with good form. I think there's a lot to like between the two of them.
Is Giovinco worth a squeak if he was to run here?
Yeah, I'd say so. My worry with Giovinco is he streetwise enough to win a Cheltenham Handicap? Yeah. I think he's a little bit immature mentally.
Another big piece of news today is Constitution Hill is out of the champion hurdle. It looked likely, but it's been confirmed. State man, is he finally going to get his day in the sun? And I say that obviously he's won so many Grade 1s, but I'm talking about he's going to win his champion hurdle.
Well, it's his to lose now, and the prices would indicate as much. He should win the race. All known form would tell you he should win the race. And to be honest, he's a horse that, if he goes through a career not winning a champion hurdle, it would be of great injustice.
Can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
And this is completely hypothetical. He gets a stone bruise on the morning.
Yes.
Lossiemouth is declared for the mares, so she's not in it. Who wins the champion hurdle?
What ground?
Soft. Slightly edging towards good to soft.
Irish Point if starting to get to good to soft. The worry is if it goes soft to heavy, genuinely could be not so sleepy. Which is I've nothing against Not So Sleepy, legend of a horse, but at 12 years of age, I didn't think he was going to be winning a champion hurdle.
It's one of those, anything can happen in racing, and obviously we hope State Man is very good, but Lossiemouth is going to be declared for the mares hurdle. If something was to happen to State Man, you'd have a world where Not So Sleepy would probably be second in, Irish Point would be Fav, Lucia, Pied Piper's out at the break would be the worst champion hurdle ever.
Twitter would implode.
Yeah, it completely would.
Absolutely implode. If Not So Sleepy wins the champion hurdle, with great due respect, the place will melt down.
Yeah, although Hughie Morrison's Twitter account is super.
It's tremendous. Who's come up with all of those?
No idea. He's very, very good. Or she. The mare's hurdle comes next. Lossiemouth, short price to win. Is she going to go and do it?
I'd say so, yeah. I think she's just the fundamentally best horse in the race. A little bit like the Triumph last year. Not a race I'll be having a bet in. Don't like anything each way. But hopefully the mare goes and does it very nicely.
I agree. I think she's going to go and win. I think she's going to be the one performance on the Tuesday where you're going to go, oh,
that was nice, yeah.
Wow. I think that if the International had gone on for 3 furlongs further, she'd have won by a furlong. I don't really have much problems with her staying. She was so free in the Triumph hurdle last year. That would be the slight concern for me, whether she's too keen. But what I would say is staying as a juvenile over 2-1 in a Triumph makes me think that she'd have no problem staying the 2.5, and especially as I think she'd be more streetwise this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think you'd want to see her win well, because I do think fundamentally, if you're to look through what everyone's saying, if she won the mares and won it well, there is a very strong chance she'll turn up in a champion hurdle next year.
I agree.
Which would be a great prospect.
The Boodles?
Yeah, competitive race. Going to side with two with the same form line. Yeah?
Have you? So Palamon's won.
Yeah.
Are you doing this out of blind loyalty to Paul Nolan? And so you think you're backing this horse if you just face value, you didn't know who trained any of them, you'd be backing this one?
Probably not, no. But at the same time, there's more method to the madness than you're making it out to be. I've started a gamble on this thing. He was 40-1 the other day.
What's he now?
He's now
33.
best price 25. 20s in a lot of places. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to be sensible in terms of I'm just going to take that form and I am going to back in Dowie. I know he's off a pretty heavy weight. I don't necessarily believe he's screaming incredibly well handicapped off 134, but he could have beaten Palamon by 2 miles the last day. He didn't. He won by a couple of lengths. He does have form in the book. He's had some nice juvenile form, so I'm going to back him at 10-1. I've already backed Palamon, but he's 25-1. I think there are much worse 25-1 shouts out there throughout the entirety of the festival. Much worse. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the Tuesday night. Imagine the scenes if Palamon wins. I will have you in a chokehold all evening.
You can do what you want if he wins, because I'd be fairly confident that won't come to
you'll have gone home.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think the one that's probably been a horse that's been quite underwhelmed with this season, we've seen him twice at Cheltenham, is Milantino, but he's been given a mark of 126, and I do think that's probably lenient for what he's done. He was 7 months behind Burdett Road. He was then 11 lengths behind Sergino, but he was never really put in the race once he was beaten comfortably. Well, they went forward that they changed tactics, but once he was past, that was that. He's been given a mark of 126. I just think it was lenient. My one worry with him is is he quick enough? To me, he looks like a bit of a stayer, like almost like next year's Coral Cup horse, that kind of up and trip. And this race is often won by nippier types. I know Jazzy Matthew was probably more of a stayer, but I don't know whether he'll be quick enough. I just thought he had an easy time of 126 considering what he's done.
Yeah, I think it was an overreaction from the handicapper in terms of going down. Now, he probably didn't deserve the initial mark he was given in England of 136, but somewhere in between probably was around fair. Just a line on Batman Girac, obviously near the top of the betting. I remember talking to Mikey O'Sullivan after Christmas time. He rode him in that Christmas race, said he was laced with ability, but he is a Fruit Loop, and he's a keen horse that does hang. And I just would wonder, is Cheltenham going to be his bag?
Interesting. The one I'd give a shout to at 33 to 1.
For God's sake, that's even bigger a price than Palomar.
Is a filly trained by Willie Mullins, and it's Carrier de Blaises. Ran over.
I won't take my next French lesson.
No, please don't ever do that. Only had 2 runs for Willie after moving from France, but did finish 14 lengths behind Carla Conti at Christmas in the Grade 2 on her stable debut, and then did finish 2 lengths behind Miss Manzour, and Darby was back in third. I completely understand that he's probably improved massively for that run, but I do think that she is interesting, and she's that more nippier type, and I just think she's being overlooked at 33 to 1 and is likely to run. The final race on the Tuesday is the National Hunt Challenge Cup Amateur Jockeys. This year ran in memory of Maureen Mullins, which is a lovely story. But we've got Corbett's Cross here, MC Gardens, Salvador Ziggy, Meeting of the Waters, Flooring Porter's probably not going to run, Nick Rocket probably not going to run, 3-car Bragg probably will run, Broadway Boy. Where do we sit with this?
Yeah, tough race. Not a huge fan of Corbett's Cross myself. I think he's got a kink in him. I think he's many kinks in him. He doesn't jump very well. I'm not sure he wants a real extreme test of stamina, and I'd always be wary of a horse that decided to headbutt a hurdle headbutt a rail rather than jump a hurdle like he did in the Albert Bartlett last year. I think even the last time that he fell, it was more of an independent fall than people gave credit for. Quite like Broadway Boy, each way. I think he could run well if he ran in this. He should run in this rather than the Brown Advisory. He'd have a much bigger chance than this, but then you're worried about who might ride him. And not a horse again, another full circle this, but really I think the most likely winner of the race is Embassy Gardens. I've been very impressed with him in his 2 chase starts. He absolutely punted Xander Clegane into touch last time at Naas, which was a good effort, let's be clear about it. 20 lengths back in third. A lot to like. Obviously disappointed at Cheltenham last year.
Do you think it's a strange one for Willie to run him here when Sandor Clegane is going to win the Brown Advisory and he could probably go and win that?
It is very funny, but at the same time, Willie may be thinking that on Tuesday at 2:15 when this horse has won this race, and then Xander C gets up on the line to deny fact to file.
Do you think there'll be a small bid when Embassy Gardens wins this by half the track? Mullins might go and buy Sandor Clegane the night before.
I don't think he will, unfortunately, because
doesn't have enough money.
No, Paul Nolan trains a goodie here.
I think I've slightly changed my opinion on this race, and I do think I probably quite like Kilbeg King at 12s. Obviously rated inferior to Broadway Boy and a few others in there, but a 9-year-old, lots of experience. The booking of Biddick is attractive, and I just don't love a lot of them. Salvador Ziggy, I couldn't really back him. I know I was massive on him last year, but he wouldn't be for me here. MC Gardens, I don't trust. Corbett's Cross, I didn't think it's had the best prep in the world going into this. Meeting of the Waters, again, was unseated on his last start. Florent Porter won't run, Nick Rocket won't run. There's a few in there that I don't massively love, and although Broadway Boy, I think he's got a big chance, I don't know who's going to ride him.
Yeah, I'd be worried about that. You'd have to think Kilbeg King as well. Like Honeyball had Miss Parfois just get touched off in this race a few years ago. This horse is a better horse than that, has ran decently enough the last few times, and does look like he probably wants a marathon trip. He's just one of those, like, he doesn't necessarily do anything in a great hurry.
No, absolutely not. But I do think he's got an interesting chance, and Biddick being on him is a big plus. But that's our thoughts. There are rough thoughts on the first day of the Cheltenham Festival. Just to reiterate what we like: I think we both like Ballyburn if he was to run in the Supreme. If he doesn't, we're both kind of like Mystical Power. I would give a mention to Asian Master. Again, we're kind of in a similar boat with the next 2 races, really, with Facile Vega and Hunter's Yarn. Probably depends on if Facile Vega runs and ground conditions. If not, Hunter's Yarn's interesting. Trelawn, we both like. Shandy Classico could be interesting. State Man, the obvious. Lossiemouth, the obvious. Milantino, possibly for me in the Boodles, with a shout out to the Willie Mullins filly, the 4-year-old, 33 to 1 shot. And then you like Palamon.
I do like Palamon, and I like Dowie from that Nace race. I think both of them have a chance.
I'm leaning towards Kilbay King, and you're leaning towards
Embassy Gardens, yeah. And I didn't think I'd ever do that.
No, but they are our fancies at this moment in time. A week out from the Cheltenham Festival, we'll have all of our final selections on the day over on Twitter, so do go and follow us. If you did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we will see you soon.